Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Blue Jays Today. We're your boys. We always got something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I'm your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playalog. And right now, folks, we've got to address some of the recent reports and rumors coming out about the Toronto Blue Jays and some of their big-time players. A lot of trade reports are coming out right now about names like Bichette, about some of our biggest starting pitchers. It feels like people are thinking that a big Toronto Blue Jays trade is going to happen. So in this one, folks, we're going to break down whether or not we believe a big trade is coming down the pipeline. And then some of these articles that are literally proposing the trades on a silver platter for the Toronto Blue Jays to either accept or, just say absolutely not, folks. So you guys let us know your thoughts in the comments down below about everything that we talk about in this video. Let's start with the Bichette trade rumors that are going on right now. So Bichette, obviously not having the greatest season ever, but just the other day, Mookie Betts hit in the hand with a baseball, fractured hand. He is going to be out for a while, everybody. He is assuredly going to go on the IL, but nobody has any idea how long he is going to be on the IL for. I mean, a fractured hand, not a great place to be, and obviously that is a massive hole for the LA Dodgers in their lineup, and that has sparked all these rumors about, hey, maybe they could be looking at Bichette.
Potentially, right? I mean, I think what's getting so serious about this is you have people like Sportsnet literally making articles, Jeff Blair coming out and talking about Bichette being an option for the Dodgers. You even had Fansided over here talking about how this Bichette trade could be an emergency situation for the Dodgers. Now, before we get into it even further, guys, is this a possibility? I mean, look, Bichette hasn't been playing that well so far this year.
Yeah.
And if I'm the Dodgers, I want to get someone who can go in and plug in and play Mookie Betts almost similarly level right away. Bichette, yes, you would have him for another year, so that's definitely something to consider, but he is going through a bit of a rough patch right now, guys. He's only got a .237 batting average, OPS at 628. The strikeouts have been just not too bad, actually. 82nd percentile, but the swing and the miss, the chasing right now, it's all over the place. Is this a reality that you see the LA Dodgers actually going out and pushing and pulling a trigger in a week or so? Because you want to get someone right now if you're the Dodgers.
And I hear you, right? I do definitely hear you about that. But we also got to keep in mind who we're talking about right now in the LA Dodgers. I think that the Dodgers over there, first off, they are always hyper aggressive when it comes to signings, when it comes to trades. So they're always going to be in those conversations. And if they are fearing that Mookie Betts could be out for a while, then they are absolutely going to be on the phone making calls. I also believe that their coaching, their developmental staff, everybody in that organization knows what they're doing, probably more than the Toronto Blue Jays do. I think that that Bichette is a very talented player in his own right, but he seems a little checked out. He seems like he doesn't necessarily want to be playing on the Toronto Blue Jays right now, and it feels like we're not getting the most effort out of him. I think that Bo is one of those guys that if he did go over to the LA Dodgers and he went into a Dodgers uniform, he is immediately back to all-star, like Silver Slugger level, Bichette, racking up hits. Like, he would be incredible over there just because I know that he would want to be there and that the LA Dodgers would bring out the best in him. So for all of those reasons, from a Dodgers standpoint for me anyways, I think it could make a lot of sense. The biggest question is, does it make sense for the Toronto Blue Jays?
That's exactly right? You had Ross Atkins come out a little bit earlier, a few weeks ago now, saying that trading Vladdy or Bichette just doesn't make any sense for the Toronto Blue Jays because we're in our window right now, and we need Bichette. Even though he's struggling right now, we need him to turn it around this year and next year while we have our short competitive window. But all of that being said, that could change immediately if the Blue Jays start to lose. So I think right now, for an emergency trade, it kind of doesn't make sense for the Jays unless the Dodgers throw up a good trade proposal. And we do have one right here proposed by Fansided saying that the Blue Jays would get their number 2 outfield prospect from the LA Dodgers I might mispronounce his name, Jose Dupala, and then we get the right-handed pitching prospect Landon Knack. He's 12th ranked in their system, and then shortstop Trey Sweeney, which I believe is 21st. Yeah. So that is a decent haul. I mean, you're getting a number 2 prospect.
Yeah, it's a decent haul too, and that first guy right there, the outfielder, he's actually in the MLB's top 100 prospects in all of baseball, just a little bit behind Orelvis Martinez. He's projected to come up to the MLB in 2026, so you can kind of, and I mean, it's not apples to apples, obviously, but it's effectively like another Orelvis Martinez, but just in the outfield and, could potentially be coming up to the show in a couple years. So it's definitely an interesting offer. I think that if you're the Toronto Blue Jays, and I want to hear what you think about this, and you guys in the comments too, I think if you're the Toronto Blue Jays, you need to ask yourself, is there any way that we could trade away Bo Bichette to the LA Dodgers, replenish this farm system of ours, because the Toronto Blue Jays is not very good right now? Could we do that and still be competitive and still try to actually buy in or win this year? Because Bo Bichette, if they truly believe that Bo is checked out and that he's not performing, it's not working here right now, then maybe there is an avenue where you do trade him away and it's not a full sell. No. It's actually helping you maybe buy at the trade deadline or maybe win more games.
Or maybe you give an opportunity to some other guys in our system the chance to play shortstop every single day.
Like an Orelvis Martinez.
Like an Orelvis Martinez or whoever it might be, right? You also got IKF that could go over and play a little bit of shortstop. So, yes, it would be an interesting thought process because, yes, if you do get it, maybe I'd want a little bit more. Maybe I'm being a little bit greedy.
Sure.
Right? Because it is Bo Bichette. He's one of the best hitters in all of baseball, and you get him for an extra year. And also, it's a fan-sided article, so they're being a little bit light. They're not going to be throwing out proposals. But if you're a Ross Atkins and you get maybe 2 top 100 prospects or maybe in 2 top 5 guys in their system, I might be more willing to pull the trigger.
That's the thing, right? Like, I think that it's not so far off from impossible to sell Bo Bichette, but not actually sell at the deadline and still compete and still try to make this team better. Like, we're seeing what these Buffalo boys have been doing recently, and I'm not saying that Orelvis Martinez would come up right after a Bo Bichette trade and just start hitting dingers left, right, and center, but it is clear that, at least for this season, Bo Bichette is not producing the way that he should be. So if you do think that there's any reality that you could potentially squeeze out a ton of value here, replenish the farm, and still win games, maybe you start considering it. Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Next, we got to move on to this other potential trade that's being talked about right now. That's the thing. The Toronto Blue Jays, being not very good at baseball right now, has just caused everyone in MLB to go, that's a good player. We want him. That's a good player. Let's trade for him. And now people are talking about Chris Bassitt.
Time for a quick shout out to Betway. Betway is the best place to make all of your sports bets on all of your favorite teams. Betway is also in collaboration with iGaming Ontario. Must be 19 years older to participate. And guys, please bet responsibly. Now, back to the content.
Yeah, guess what? There's a lot of great players on Toronto Blue Jays like Chris Bassitt, like Bo Bichette, like guys who you would actually have in these trade conversations. And again, if you're the Toronto Blue Jays now and you are starting to lean more into the sell mindset, Chris Bassitt may be a guy you might consider. Chris Bassitt, as we know, he has a 2 years left, including this one for the Toronto Blue Jays. $22 million each is the next 2 seasons. So obviously, a team would need to be willing to take on that contract. But however, we're seeing trade proposals from a Cleveland Guardians perspective for Chris Bassitt. Now, again, Chris Bassitt, $22 million. Guardians not known for having a lot of money, so you would have to take that on. But however, if the Toronto Blue Jays want to pay for a little bit, if they want to send over some of their prospects, they're looking at right now left-hander Joey Cantillo, shortstop Jose Tina, which I believe are decent enough prospects.
They're both in their top 30 in the system. 30. They're not 10, in the top 100 though. So
10 and 22 is what I'm looking at here.
It's definitely not the same level of a haul that you get for Bo Bichette, which does make sense because even though Chris Bassitt has played amazing so far this year, you are still going to have to pay him a lot of money, and he is still up there in age. Now I'm going to say something, and maybe this is a hot take right now. I think that this deal or sending away Chris Bassitt is actually less likely at this point than sending away Bo Bichette, because trading away Chris Bassitt, to me, that is, you are in full sell mode.
Yeah, because who's the next starting pitcher to come up?
You don't have one.
You don't have one.
You don't have one, right? You're already lost Alek Manoah, if you trade away Chris Bassitt, now you're looking at a rotation of Kevin Gausman, Yusei Kikuchi,
Jose Barrios.
Jose Barrios.
Oh, and then Yario Rodriguez, who we don't know what his pitch count's going to be moving forward.
Like, that to me is, okay, we are now like 6, 7, 8 games below 500.
Yeah.
It's not working. These guys are offering up a bunch of their top-tier prospects. Fuck it. Let's cut some money and replenish the farm system. So if they were to ever give away Chris Bassitt, I just don't see a reality where you can go on to keep winning games. Whereas with the Bichette trade, I do think that there is a reality where you could do that. So, I mean, you can push back on me, but maybe it's more likely that the other one happens.
To start this video, I was about to say, you know, I don't think the Bichette thing will ever happen. The more I think about it, yes, I mean, the only way it wouldn't happen is like, okay, well, we sell Bichette jerseys. He's one of the faces of our franchise, and that's going to lose us more money. Right? And we don't like that from an organizational perspective. But from a logical perspective, it does make a lot more sense because you got guys banging on the door. Waiting to play shortstop for the Toronto Blue Jays every single day. And Bichette, his WAR has not been very good this year. So it's not like you're losing a big guy, at least for this season.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Now, granted, the Chris Bassitt deal, the Bichette deal, are these going to happen imminently? It's always possible, and you know the sooner or the closer that we get to trade deadline, this will continue to ramp up. And if the Toronto Blue Jays do start to lose more games, then I think that the percentages on these things are going to increase. However, we're talking about blockbusters here right now, folks, and Bichette going over to the Dodgers as much as it is possible, and I do think that they will at least consider it. For right now, I would still say that it is less likely to, or less likely to happen than to not happen. You know what I mean?
I would give it like a Bichette trade this season. I'm still leaning on like the 4%.
Sure.
Like it's really, really unlikely because again, from the perspective of Blue Jays, it's Bichette. You know, you got him for another year. You want to fill in seats. You just did a bunch of renovations. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, 100%, everybody. However, this is not going to be the last that we hear about some big trade rumors going on with the Toronto Blue Jays. You guys let us know in the comments down below. What do you think about these deals? Would you make this deal if you're the Toronto Blue Jays GM? And would it help the team overall to potentially sell these guys and move on to somebody else?
Guys, and $3 a month to become a Patreon member. Shout out and thank you to all of our current Patreon members and to our YouTube members as well. You guys are absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you so much for watching.
And as always, go Jays, go!